I was at the bar one night, and we was chilling, we was having some drinks, and I seen an old friend. And, we seen each other, we embraced each other, we smiled, we hugged, and I remember her saying, like, "Wow, you look good." And I remember thinking in that moment, I can't tell if she's being genuine or is she trying to be funny. Cause at this time I was as big as I ever was. And I had on, I remember I had on like this medium shirt, right? Shirts that fit me, decent, like when I'm cool and in shape, but like being almost 100 pounds heavier than I was today. Like imagine me wearing this shirt and I'm 86 pounds heavier, right? Imagine what that looks like. And we're talking fat, not muscle. So I just remember feeling in that moment like, yo, I don't like this feeling. Cause I don't want to live my life not being able to believe and accept a compliment, you know? And I just remember sitting there, thinking that like I don't want to feel like this again. And I remember I even played it out in my mind like, what if nothing changes? Like what if I stayed this or just continued to get bigger over time? Like I will be one of them. And I don't want to be one of them. Because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. Now, what I can do is share some things that saved me. And by the end of this video, if you actually take this video serious, you're not just watching this as just another YouTube video you scroll by just to entertain yourself or to live vicariously through others. If this is something you really take serious and apply, by the end of this video, it'll save you too. Okay, I'm gonna give you the top 3 things that keeps me inspired to this day on my health journey. Okay, so pay attention, take notes if you need to, and let's get into it. So, the first thing, number 1, and by the way, this only is guaranteed to work if you do all 3 of these things. You have to do all 3, so don't be skipping around and only watch one and call it a day. Like you got to do all 3 of these. So listen to all 3. Number 1, I made a decision. I didn't make a choice. I didn't, go with option A or option B. I made a decision. And it's important I say that, right? I'm using that word carefully. Some of you already may know where I'm going with this. When you begin into the etymology of the word decide, the first part of the word means from. The second part of the word means to cut off from. So you're cutting off any other possibilities. That's the difference. That's the difference between the decision and a choice. A decision, this is the only thing that can work, right? There's no other way, no other options. This is it. Now, like I say, some of you may have heard that before, but it's rarely ever. I've never heard anybody actually talk about how to actually decide. Like, yeah, that sounds good to say that, you break down the etymology and all of that, and I learned the difference between choosing and deciding, and all that's cool, all that's great, and it sounds good, but I want to teach you like how to actually do it. Okay? What you want to do is, see, we have to understand that there's neurons throughout our whole body, right? And the technical scientific definition of a brain is a concentration of neurons. And with that definition in mind, you can say we have a brain, not just in our head, but also in our heart, where there's tens of thousands, about over 40,000 neurons in the heart, hundreds of millions of neurons in the gut. Okay, and up here is billions of neurons. And then there's other random neurons throughout your body. And they all have different information. And they don't always communicate with each other, especially if you're not consciously making sure that they communicate with each other through, different practices such as breathing and things like that. But I don't want to get into the breathing in this particular video. I have another video where I teach how to breathe holistically and how to get all of this information and get all your brains on one accord. right? Because this brain in your head, the brain in your heart, and the brain in your gut is connected by what's called the vagus nervous system. And 80% of that information travels upward, not downward. So it's more so the gut telling the heart what to do and the heart telling the brain up here what to do, as opposed to vice versa. But that's another conversation. But what I want to say is this. The reason why I'm saying that is, so the information that's going to be stored in the neurons that's in your gut, the hundreds of millions of neurons in your gut, also where serotonin is produced, which is what I personally call the self-esteem hormone. Okay, it's produced in the gut. So how much does food play a part in that, right? That's where our instincts, right, and impulses come from. Gut instinct, gut reaction. Usually it has to do with something to keep you alive or to keep life going, right? Um, we may sense some danger before we think about it. We move out the way and something that went past this way or something like that, right? Or even like when a baby is first born, how it knows to go to the nipple for food to survive, right? Those are like your instincts. That's in the gut. When we get to the heart, that's where we deal with the emotions. You do things because you feel like doing it. There's a somewhat of a level of consciousness there, but not really. Like a little bit more than the instincts, but not really, right? Because when we come to making conscious logical decisions, we're dealing with the prefrontal cortex, which is up in the brain, in our head. So I'm telling you this to say that a lot of information that's stored within our bodies and all of our different brains, we're not even conscious of, which makes it subconscious. Now, if the heart is dealing with emotions and this is dealing with instincts, it becomes a matter of how can we get these all on the same accord? And it's by asking a simple one-word question. Why? I ask myself, why did I want to lose weight, or why did I want to be healthy? And you probably are going to have to ask why more than once. So I say, yo, why do I want to be healthy? Why do I want to lose weight? My answer was, yo, how I felt at the bar when she said, yo, I looked good, and I didn't know if I should believe her or not, because I thought she may have been trying to play me. I don't like that feeling. I felt insecure. I don't like how that feels. Why? Right? Why didn't you feel secure? Or why is that important to you? Well, if I'm not secure in myself, I can't even feel like a man. Like, how can I feel secure in myself? I'm not even secure in myself like as a man. Like, how can I just go through life without feeling secure in myself, just being this insecure person? I can't be a man, the type of man I want to be, if I'm feeling insecure. And when we get to the part of like me feeling like I need to be a man, we reach instinct level. We went past the emotions. The emotion was the feeling insecure. We get to the I need to be a man. When we get to the B part, that's when we get to the instinct part. So now I'm consciously aware that I want to get healthy and lose weight. I'm emotionally aware that I want to get healthy and lose weight. And now I'm even instinctively aware that I want to get healthy and lose weight, because it's now, as far as I'm concerned, this is connected to me being a man. So now when I step outside and I get tempted with soda and ice cream and cookies and lasagna and shit, if I indulge, I process that as purposefully emasculating myself. That's how I process it now. Because what type of man doesn't have control over his own actions to ensure his own security in himself? That's how I'm processing it now. You will likely process it differently, especially if you're a woman, right? Because women don't want to feel like a man. Maybe it's for you to feel like a woman. You're going to have your own whys. And your whys only have to make sense to you. Maybe this sounds crazy to some of y'all, but this is what worked for me. This is how you cut off all other possibilities, right? Because I'll be damned if I go through life as anything else other than a man, right? I'm not into the I don't want to make just that type of video or whatever, but y'all get what I'm saying. Okay? That's how we do that. That was number one. Number two, is you got to rig your environment. Got to rig your environment. You rig your environment by asking what will make it impossible, or at least almost impossible, for me to, continue doing the things that I don't want to do, or to continue being this thing that I don't want to be. So in my case, as far as being overweight and unhealthy, what would make it almost impossible or impossible for me to be unhealthy or for me to be overweight? Well, it's easy, not bringing the food in the house. Uh, excuse me. Not putting myself in situations where I'm gonna be super tempted like that. Just realizing if I never eat this particular junk food again, and this is my number one junk food I eat, that's gonna be like a high leverage adjustment I make, because I probably get 1,200 calories off of this unhealthy thing alone. If I could just cut that out, right? Things like that. Rig your environment, set your environment up for success, and your environment is going to include people around you. Some of my relationships changed. I don't deal with certain people in the same manner I used to deal with them at that time. Relationships changed. And it may sound simple, but it can get hard. Like, we're social beings. But how bad do you really want it? And in my case, it was about me wanting to be a damn man. Nothing was more important to me at that point. Because that's the foundation of everything else. I can't be a father to my daughter that I want to be without being a man. I can't be the partner that I want to be in a relationship without being a man. Like, that was the foundation of everything. So at that point, nothing else matters. That's what you have to find when you go through the first part. The why exercise I just gave you in the number one tip. Okay? So like I say, in the number two tip, you rig your environment. You set things up to make it extremely difficult for you to still participate in the things that are holding you back. And then, and staying with the example of weight loss, I want to also give this bonus tip inside of this tip. Because temptation comes still, right? So let's say you're like, dang, man, I really want them cookies over there. Okay? If you just give yourself 30 minutes, say, just think to yourself, okay, give yourself permission. In 30 minutes, I'll eat the cookies. I'm just going to hold off for a good 30 minutes first. What happens is this: 30 minutes later, that desire, that impulse you had to go for the cookies, it either weakens or goes away completely. In the event that it just weakens, renegotiate and say, okay, I made it to 30 minutes. I still kind of want it, but I don't want it as bad. I tell you what, this is you talking to yourself. I tell you what, I'm going to just hold off for today. Let me just stay perfect today. Let me stay on point today. And tomorrow, if I still want it, I'm going to indulge in those cookies. I'm going to indulge in those donuts. I'm going to drink the pop or whatever, whatever the temptation you're dealing with. Give yourself permission to do it the next day. And the magic of that is, when you get yourself a good night's sleep, adenosine triphosphate is restored in your body. What is adenosine triphosphate, or ATP for short? Many of you may have heard of this before. Many of you may have not. Long story short, it's referred to by many as the willpower molecule. You ever notice when you wake up earlier in the day, it's easier for you to be more disciplined and have more willpower earlier in the day, because you have more of that adenosine triphosphate. And as you continue to make more and more decisions throughout the day, it wanes down. With every new decision you make, it goes down a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And you notice later in the evening and later at night, you're way more impulsive, right? You do way more things against your better judgment, because the willpower molecule is depleted. A good night's sleep, it restores it again. So you just want to buy yourself some time. And how do we know this works? You know how I know this works? We do this already. We just do it the opposite way. Yeah, I'm going to start that diet. I'm going to start it tomorrow, though. First, soon as tomorrow comes, I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on point. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. You talk yourself into continuing on the bullshit for the rest of the day. You just buy yourself a little more time. So I'm just asking, or I'm suggesting, to do the same on the opposite end of the spectrum. Just keep buying yourself more time Just a little bit of time to stay on the course. And if you can keep buying yourself a little bit of time, you build up momentum to be able to afford to buy yourself more time and more time and more time. And then next thing you know, is just who you are. You gotta know how to play yourself to your benefit. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. Okay. So those are the first two. So the first one was to make a decision. The second one was to rig your environment. Okay. And when we implement this third part, it makes a guarantee. You'll stay inspired on whatever the course is. Okay. The third thing you want to do is you want to immerse yourself in learning new things about the journey that you're on, learning all the benefits about the journey that you're on. Because it excites you. You stay learning new things. It keeps feeding that motivation to keep going, to see how far you can go and how many benefits can you really get out of this. How far can this really go? It almost gamifies it to a degree. It almost feels like a game. You know, when I got on my health journey and I'm learning about the food and stuff, and I keep learning about nutrition, and I'm learning about these different vitamins and minerals and amino acids and omega fatty acids, and I started to feel like it got to a point I would get so excited about these different minerals and omega-3 fatty acids and stuff like that. I would get pleasure out of knowing how much of a certain mineral or vitamin I was gonna get out of the food more than the taste of the food. Like, yo, I know when I get all this magnesium in my body that's responsible for over 300 plus functions in the body. Oh man, my health gonna be, I'm gonna feel amazing. I'm gonna feel great. I know I ain't gonna be stressed like that because that's what it works on, blah, blah, blah. So not only does the actual mineral or vitamin or whatever does the job that it does, the placebo effect is taking place as well. It's producing dopamine. I'm getting excited. I'm getting happy of it, and I'm just immersing myself in it, and I'm just excited to keep going forward. Immersion is the fastest way to change, and changing is learning. People always say, "Yo, I'm never going to change." You're pretty much saying you're never going to learn, right? You should want to change, assuming you like learning new things. If you like learning new things, it's inevitable that you change as you learn new things. If you don't change, you didn't learn anything, right? And the fastest way to change, aka the fastest way to learn, is to immerse yourself in whatever it is that you're trying to learn, right? If you want to learn Spanish, I swear, if you just put yourself in the heart of Mexico, you will learn Spanish way faster than a Duolingo app. Okay, that's just how that works. So if you immerse yourself in this new path, this new journey that you're on, whether you're trying to break away from a cigarette addiction, or whether you're trying to break away from a video game addiction, or a porn addiction, or food addiction, or a sex addiction, whatever your vice is, if you continue to study the benefits of breaking away from that addiction and the benefits of the new lifestyle that you're embarking on, and you learn new things about it, it excites you to keep going forward. And so all in all, if you do all three of these tips, make the decision, rig your environment, and stay immersed as you're on your path, you will stay inspired and stay the course, and you will not relapse as long as you keep those three things going. And those three things I gave you, I use it for an example for my weight loss journey and my health journey from, because my blood pressure used to be 170 something plus over 100 plus. And my cholesterol was high and I was pre-diabetic and both of my parents were diabetic. So they telling me I was going to have diabetes too and I need to be on medicine, and I never had to take medicine for none of that. The principles I taught you can be applied to anything, not just weight loss and health. That's why I felt it was very important to make this video because you can apply this to any and every area that you want to improve on in your life. Okay. So if you could relate to this, if you've already done this, share your testimony in the comments. If you have any questions or anything or any insights, any feedback at all, make sure you put it in the comments. I'm using the comments to figure out, what y'all want to know. The question was asked to me, what are some things I'll do to stay inspired? That's what inspired this video. This will help somebody. As long as you took this video serious, it will help you. And I'll check y'all on the next one. Peace.